¿Qué onda, amigos? Welcome back to the channel, where we explore the world's most fascinating places and untangle the stories behind them. Today, we're setting our sights on the Dominican Republic, a true Caribbean gem that's bursting with color, culture, and contradictions at every turn. This country is full of surprises, from its lively city streets to its tranquil beaches, and it's a place where the unexpected is always just around the corner. But before we dive in, let's clear up a classic mix-up that confuses even seasoned travelers. The Dominican Republic is not the same as Dominica. These are two completely different countries in the Caribbean, each with its own unique identity, just like Sweden isn't Switzerland, or Australia isn't Austria. The Dominican Republic is the big one, famous for its infectious merengue rhythms, its deep love of baseball, and its world-class Punta Cana resorts that attract millions of visitors every year. What makes it even more interesting is that the Dominican Republic shares the island of Hispaniola with Haiti. That's right. One island, two countries, and two very different worlds living side by side. This split is incredibly rare in the Caribbean, and it shapes everything about the Dominican Republic, from its culture and language to its economy and even its landscapes. The Dominican Republic covers about 2/3 of the island, making it the larger neighbor, while Haiti occupies the remaining third. But the border isn't just a line on a map. It's a dramatic divide between two nations with vastly different histories, cultures, and realities. How did two countries sharing the same island end up so different? That's the question that makes the Dominican Republic so endlessly fascinating to explore. We're not just here for the postcard-perfect beaches, though they are stunning. We're here to dig into the rich history, vibrant culture, and the striking contrasts that define this place. Why is one side of the island a booming tourism powerhouse, while the other faces so many challenges? What historical twists and turns led to such different destinies? Buckle up and get ready for a journey that's as eye-opening as it is beautiful. Let's dive in and discover the real story behind the Dominican Republic. Stand at the border of the Dominican Republic and Haiti, and the difference is immediate. On the Dominican side, green forests, paved roads, signs of development. On the Haitian side, barren hills, deforestation, and poverty. The contrast is so stark it's visible from space. The DR boasts one of Latin America's fastest-growing economies, bustling cities, and a booming tourism industry. Haiti, meanwhile, is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, plagued by instability and lacking basic infrastructure. The border isn't just political, it's an economic and social chasm. How did this happen? Let's go back in time. The roots of this divide go back to colonization. Spain controlled the East, now the DR. France took the West, now Haiti, turning it into a sugar and coffee powerhouse built on brutal slavery. Haiti's independence in 1804 was historic, but the world punished it. France demanded a crippling debt, stunting Haiti's growth for generations. The DR's path was different. Independence came later, but without that crushing debt. Over time, the DR attracted foreign investment, especially from the US, fueling its economy. Haiti was isolated and burdened. The DR found opportunities to grow. The seeds of today's inequality were planted centuries ago. Colonial exploitation and international politics set these two nations on opposite paths. History's shadow still shapes Hispaniola today. Let's shift gears and talk about daily life in the DR. Tipping isn't optional, it's essential. Service workers depend on it to make ends meet. Then there's hora dominicana, Dominican time. Plans are flexible and being late is normal. Life moves at a relaxed pace. Relationships matter more than the clock. Business meetings start with personal chats. Errands turn into social visits. This laid-back attitude is part of the country's charm. It can be frustrating for punctual visitors, but it's all about enjoying the moment. Understanding this rhythm helps you appreciate Dominican warmth and hospitality. Now, let's see how people actually get around in this lively country. For a real Dominican experience, forget rental cars. Try the concho, the shared taxi. Picture a beat-up Corolla packed with as many people as possible. Personal space is a luxury. Just flag one down, shout your destination, and squeeze in for a cheap wild ride. The music's loud, the driving's wild, and the conversation is lively. There are also guaguas, buses, and motoconchos, motorcycle taxis, zipping through traffic. It's organized chaos, but it works, showing the resourcefulness of Dominicans. This system is a window into daily life, far from the tourist resorts. Riding a concho is a rite of passage for any adventurous traveler. Dominican women are celebrated for their beauty, a blend of Taino, African and Spanish heritage. The country shines in international beauty pageants, and confidence is part of the culture. But there's another side, the chapeadora, a woman seeking relationships for financial gain. It's a controversial but visible phenomenon, rooted in economic inequality. For some, beauty becomes a form of social and economic capital. It's easy to judge, but it reflects deeper issues of opportunity and survival. The DR is full of such contradictions, charm and challenge side by side. Let's look at how history shaped this complex identity. The story of the Dominican Republic begins dramatically in 1492, when Christopher Columbus first set foot on the island of Hispaniola. He was so taken by its lush landscapes and sparkling waters that he called it the most beautiful land he had ever seen. This moment marked the start of a new era, one that would forever change the fate of the island and its people. Soon after, Santo Domingo was founded, becoming the oldest permanent European city in the Americas. Its cobblestone streets and grand colonial buildings became the center of Spanish power in the New World, a place where explorers, conquerors, and settlers all left their mark. This colonial legacy is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's a source of national pride, with its rich architecture and vibrant culture. On the other, it's a constant reminder of centuries of conquest, displacement, and loss for the island's original inhabitants. Over the centuries, Hispaniola became a battleground for empires. The island changed hands many times, ruled by Spain, then France, occupied by Haiti, and even the United States. Each new flag brought its own challenges, leaving the people in a near constant state of uncertainty and upheaval. This long history of instability and foreign control created a deep longing for order and stability. In 1930, that desire paved the way for the rise of Rafael Trujillo, a military strongman who promised to bring peace and progress to the nation. Trujillo ruled the Dominican Republic with absolute power for more than 30 years. His regime brought modernization and development, but it also unleashed a reign of terror, marked by brutal repression, censorship, and fear. The impact of Trujillo's rule is still felt today. His era shaped the Dominican national psyche, leaving behind a complicated legacy of both progress and pain, hope, and trauma. To truly understand the modern Dominican Republic, you have to reckon with the shadow Trujillo cast over the nation. A shadow that lingers in politics, culture, and memory. So what did Trujillo's rule really mean for the country and its people? Let's take a closer look at how his legacy continues to shape the Dominican Republic today. Trujillo's rule from 1930 to 1961 cast a long, chilling shadow over the Dominican Republic. His regime was defined by an atmosphere of fear, absolute control, and a personality cult that bordered on the surreal. Trujillo's image was everywhere, on coins, in classrooms, and in the very names of cities and streets. He demanded not just obedience, but adoration, and built a system where loyalty was rewarded and dissent was brutally crushed. He renamed the capital after himself, controlled every aspect of the economy, and tolerated no opposition. The secret police, known for their ruthlessness, kept the population in a constant state of anxiety. People whispered in fear, knowing that even a careless word could lead to disappearance or death. Under Trujillo, the nation became a place where trust was rare and silence was a means of survival. Yet, despite the terror, some Dominicans recall his era as one of stability. Trujillo paid off the country's foreign debt, launched ambitious infrastructure projects, and modernized cities. Roads, schools, and hospitals were built, and for a time, the economy grew. For many, these achievements are inseparable from the fear that accompanied them, but this so-called order came at a horrific cost. In 1937, Trujillo ordered the Parsley Massacre, a brutal campaign in which thousands of Haitians living near the border were systematically murdered. This atrocity left deep scars, not only on the victims' families, but on the conscience of the nation itself. Trujillo's reign finally ended in 1961 when he was assassinated. His death unleashed a wave of hope and uncertainty as the Dominican people struggled to reclaim their voices and rebuild their society. The end of his dictatorship opened the door to democracy, but the trauma and divisions he left behind would linger for generations. Today, Trujillo's legacy remains deeply controversial. Some see him as a modernizer who brought progress, while others remember him as a ruthless tyrant. Historians and families still debate his impact, weighing the benefits of development against the horrors of repression. The Dominican Republic's national identity was forged in this crucible of progress and pain. The symbols, parades, and even the language of the era still echo in the country's culture today. The wounds of dictatorship run deep, shaping the memories of older generations and the hopes of the young. Yet, the drive for a better, freer future remains strong, as Dominicans reflect on their past and look forward with determination. The country emerged forever changed, its cities and people marked by the legacy of this dark chapter. The lessons of Trujillo's rule continue to shape the nation's path. Today, Dominicans grapple with the meaning of their history. The shadows of dictatorship linger, but so does the hope for a more just and open society. What does all this mean for the Dominican Republic of today? The Dominican Republic is more than beaches. It's a land of contrasts and resilience. It's an island split by history, economics, and fate, where beauty and inequality coexist. You'll find colonial history, African rhythms, and modern ambition all in one place. The DR challenges you to look deeper, to see beyond the postcard views. It's about savoring sancocho, dancing bachata, and connecting with locals. But it's also about understanding the struggles and triumphs that shape this nation. The DR defies easy labels, joyful and tragic, chaotic and charming. It's a microcosm of Latin America's complexity and spirit. Have you visited the DR? What surprised you? Share your thoughts below. Thanks for joining this journey. Nos vemos en el próximo video.